Because an exclusive on the back of the Times this morning from Matt Lawton, the chief sports correspondent, plan to lift football fan alcohol ban. Where are we going with this, guys? Lifting football's 36-year ban on drinking alcohol while watching football matches is going to be amongst, we're told, key recommendations of a fan-led review next month. Martin, this is about Tracy Crouch's independent report. It's going to push for a pilot on serving alcohol at clubs in the National League and then League Two, with the intention to extend it across the professional game. So drinking at matches, is it coming back? Seems that it is. Fans haven't been able to drink within sight of the pitch since 1985, when hooliganism virtually forced the ban. But cricket fans, rugby fans can consume alcohol in their seats. What does Tracy Crouch say about it? Our view on alcohol in football is outdated. It's not helped when you see scenes like we saw at Wembley, obviously the Euro final, but that's why I would pilot it first. It's also about allowing clubs to be able to sustain themselves. Martin, I'm coming your way in a second. Simon, where are you going with this? Alcohol and football fans, is this a match made in heaven or hell?
I'm not enamoured with the idea that the current situation particularly needs to change. You're going to a football match. The fans will tell you how important the football match is. And I understand that part and parcel of the spirit of football is entertainment and engagement, and they'll drink in the pubs outside the stadiums, and of course the revenue that can be brought into football stadiums as a result of additional spend for things like this are part and parcel of it. But I'm not comfortable with it. I think it's a pushback. I think it's playing to the gallery from Tracy Crouch, because there's a big pushback where the fans suggest that if you can do this at other sports like cricket and rugby, you can do it in our sport. Why are we being singled out? Well, with the greatest respect in the world, the reasons why football is singled out is because there is an element, I absolutely accept that it's a minority in this day and age, rather than anywhere near bordering anything other than that, will behave in a certain way. And I just don't...
So they can't be trusted?
No, they can't. If we believe that an undercurrent inside football has disappeared, then we're wrong. I'm not in the camp of turning around and castigating football fans. It was me a month ago that argued the point that we had the greatest supporters in the world, only to have it blow back in my face with the Wembley scenes and people dining out on that. But I don't think this needs to happen. I don't think we need to even up what happens in one sports ground over another. There is no sport that has the tribalism, that has the energy and the vitality and sometimes the vitriol that football has, and mixing that with people wanting to drink more alcohol during the game, I don't think is a necessity, and I don't see why we need to do it.
So you say stop it now. Stop it in its tracks now. Don't take this any further.
I'm saying that you can have a drink before the game, you can have a drink at half-time. Why do you need to be drinking during the game just because you can? And just because other sports do it? There is a uniqueness about football that distinguishes it from other sports, and that also has a consequence, because the behaviour that is unique at times isn't
I
where
must
it needs
admit,
to be.
Martin, I share Simon's view on that.
I'm always worried about
alcohol. Can fans be
alcohol.
trusted? Can football fans be trusted?
I'm just looking for sort of parity with other sports, and do we, are we looking at the same set of supporters that we were looking at back in the 80s? I know that, you're going to look at what happened in the summer with, the anarchy that took place at Wembley Stadium when fans tried to break in.
To a point.
Do we have a situation where we could have sort of like red flag matches where we say, right, okay, old firm game, whatever it is, Jim, you're not going to have alcohol in this manner, but other games, Arsenal does most of those fixtures at home. What's wrong with somebody taking a beer to a seat? Now, I've done this at Twickenham. It's a lovely day out. You could say it's a different situation. I've never took alcohol in a football ground. I'm there generally to work and to observe. But I know that people like to have a drink. Do we only encourage binge drinking to a certain extent, where I see people racing drinks down their neck, on the concourse, rushing to their seats? So it does need to be looked at, and I think it is time to look at it. But after maybe 10 years ago, when they changed, of course, the Taylor report, it changed all the stadia, and it just seemed to be a different environment for fans. And I think that we've worked really hard on that.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure the timing at the moment, the way that things are after COVID.
Yeah.
Could it get out of control a little bit?
I've just got this image in my mind, Simon, of what it would lead to.
Yeah, they've been banging
I went to England, Denmark, and some character on my way in didn't fancy me and showers me in drink. Now, Dave is saying there, Jim, hooliganism aside, the thought of getting showered by dozens upon dozens of pints of beer during a match is pretty hugely unattractive. I'm with him on that.
Yeah, there is that element of side of things, but I look at the pros and cons of it, and I understand the arguments being advanced. The reasons why this argument is being advanced is because it's about revenue for the clubs. It isn't actually about the well-being of the fans and levelling up the playing field. With other sports, that's just a backstory. And someone says on here that, I'm making an observation because I sit in the director's box. I didn't grow up sitting in the director's box. I grew up from a working class background, and I actually prefer to stand in the stands rather than sit in the director's box. I don't find it particularly engaging there. But the point is if you look at the upside against the downside is that people's behaviour can be artificially induced by alcohol. We've seen the behaviour of football fans. It hasn't gone away. The idea that football fans are just a peaceful, home-loving group of people that go there, en masse they are, but there is also an element of them that want to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
And why do we need to have people showered in beer? Why do we need to bring standing back in at the same time, perhaps, as bringing alcohol into the stands and start to get the mix wrong?
Yeah.
Martin's idea was not a bad idea. If this idea were to float and it were to become something that was part and parcel of the way football wants to change, then making sure that you identify the category of games, because you identify the policing and the stewarding by a category of game. So why wouldn't you perhaps look at alcohol consumption in blue touch paper games?
And how about lower down? Because I think that's where the revenues
But that's where they really
impact, don't they?
Yeah, but Martin, look at what I'm looking at here. Good morning, guys. I'm listening to you. I'm a fan of non-league Grimsby Town. I'm totally against the idea of bringing back drinking in the stands. As much as I would love it myself, there is a minority, as Simon says, they will spoil it for the rest of us.
Well, that's unfortunate that we've come to that, haven't we? Because I just do feel though that it's naive to think that people are not induced with alcohol when they go into the stadiums, because a load of people are. It doesn't change their behaviour.
Do you accept as a professional sportsman that there is a difference between the kind of people, or not kind of people, that's wrong, the commitment and the passion and the nature of the tribalism that goes into football that is different than the way it goes into rugby and the way it goes into cricket, the goading of one another's fans, the baiting of the players, the hard abuse or the soft abuse.
Isn't it?
It's more aggressive.
That volume that they create.
So then it has to be treated differently, and it's earned.
But then if they're doing it in Germany and they're doing it in Holland, then I feel for the fans that can't have parity with other European top nations around the world.
Well, we just looked at what was happening in games recently where the Italian ultras came over here and behaved abominably. So what they're doing in other countries and what they're prepared to tolerate. And don't forget the model in Germany is the fans have a 50+1 ratio of owning football clubs in Germany, so they might have control of their own destiny. But culturally, we are a different breed in this country. We're islanders. We have a different mentality. We break away from Europe because we want Brexit to be the thing that we want to look forward to, and we have a different dynamic. And our football is built upon different things than other countries' football. And I just think, as much as I love football fans, as much as I want the very best for them, why open this can of worms? I know it's about money. I know that the argument, but I'm telling you, we're talking about small beer. Ironically, no pun intended, for the revenue that these clubs are going to be able to generate from 3,000 fans inside a lower league club, inside a stadium. We're talking about hundreds, not tens of thousands. And I realise that every penny counts. But
then it's not worth the risk. The cleaning up exercise would be probably even bigger bill, wouldn't it? And the damage that may be caused. So
that's right. I mean, some people are saying, look, if a lid can be kept on the thing, then it's a good idea. There's one no name in the message. In the concourse, people down a couple of pints in double quick time, and then it's kick-off. So if you could take a pint to your seat, you wouldn't indulge in binge drinking. It makes more sense to be able to have a beer with you as you sit and watch the game. It's much more enjoyable.
In and out, getting beers, disturbing other people during a game, standing up in front of people, causing aggravation because someone wants to get up and go and get a beer. Someone can't see the game, and all of a sudden you've got aggravation because someone wants to feed a beer.
That's all right if it's a sensible guy, but there are plenty of not sensible individuals go to a football match. I mean, Martin, look at your old team, Arsenal, going against Tottenham, 4:30 this Sunday. You imagine it? You can drink during the game?
You wouldn't really want it in that game, but you feel... surely they're there to watch the football, aren't they? So they're not going to get up every 5 minutes to go and have a beer.
So it's the principle. This is what they're arguing for.
At the rugby games I've been at, when I stopped playing, it was one of them on my bucket list of things to do and watch. Fantastic day out. People just took one drink and that was it.
Yeah.
No one's running away to the bar.
Different, Martin. They're different, as Simon says. Culturally, they're different.
Well, then that's why this arrangement.
Look at the Euro final. I mean, honestly, I think it could lead to carnage myself. That's basically the question. Is alcohol and football fans, is this a match made in heaven or a match made in hell? You for it or against it? 08717 223344 81089.